Alright, so I'm going to create an annotated bibliography for the collapse of the Soviet Union. First thing I'm going to want to do is, you've noticed I've already gone to Noodle Tools, I've logged in here. I'm sure you guys know how to do that, but I'm going to create a new project for this. I'm sorry, I'm going to click here, create a new project. I need MLA format for it. I can use advanced. I'm just going to use junior for this one, but you could use advanced if you wanted. I'm going to give it a name. Annotated Fall of USSR, something like that. I'm going to create my project. Here it is. Okay, and so now I'm within that, my annotated. And really the place where I'm going to work is the works cited section, and you can see I have 0 entries. I'm going to need 3 or 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here on works cited, and you can see I don't have anything listed here yet, but I'm going to create that, and basically I'm going to be using websites. And what I've done already is I've done a Google search. Let me go back one spot here, and you can see I searched on the effect of the collapse of the Soviet Union on, and in this case, South Africa. And I've got a bunch of different options here. I'm going to click on this one, and here's the South African History Online. I've read through this already to save time just for this video purpose, and I know that this is a pretty good website and it's credible and all that kind of thing, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go. So I'm going to use this as a source. So I'm going to go back here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say I found a website. I'm going to create that citation. It gives me some option for a tutorial. I'm just going to continue here without that. And it brings me in here. And so this is where I need to fill out some information. I know you guys have done this before, but I'll go through it quickly with you. Most recent date of access, which is today, June 1st or whatever day it would be. If I can find a date of the e-publication, then I would plug that in as well. So let me go and look for that somewhere in here. I've got a title. Usually you'll find those somewhere down near the bottom. I don't see anything down here. I've got a copyright, all rights reserved, but I don't have anything that says about a date. So I'm going to be able to skip this right here. The ones that I have to get are all the ones with the little red asterisks. So that's what I'm going to make sure I get no matter what. You do want the URL if you can. So here's URL. This is the actual web address. So I'm just going to click up here and highlight it. I'm going to right click, copy. I'm going to paste it in here. Actually, I don't want Noodle Tools. That was bad. But I want this. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to Noodle Tools, and I'm going to paste it in there, and there's my URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Okay, if I can find contributors or authors, I'm going to go look for that. I've already gone through it, and I can tell you that I could not find who the author was, but that's okay. I don't necessarily need that. You notice it doesn't have an asterisk next to it, so I can actually skip this part. Now it says web page or document article title. So I'm going to go back here, and it is the impact of the collapse of the Soviet Union. I'm going to copy this, right? I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to paste it in here, okay? And it wants me to make sure I've capitalized all these different things, okay? And now it's not giving me a red line, so it says I'm okay. Name of the hosting website. Okay, so let me go back. Who's hosting it? South African History Online, towards the people history. So I could literally just retype that, but I know that if I go down here, here's the same thing, and so I can copy and paste that as well, and there it is. Okay, and if you notice, I've kind of gotten everything that I need, at least in terms of my asterisks. I've gotten a date here. I couldn't find anything else. I've got the URL. The more you can fill out, the better, but you gotta just have the asterisk once. Now under annotation, this is where I'm going to type up my information, right? And in this case, I'm going to need validity. I'm going to need to talk about how valid is this website. I'm also going to need to talk about the answer that I'm looking for, which deals with how did the collapse of the Soviet Union affect, in this case, South Africa? Okay. Now, to save time, what I've done is I've already gone through this. I've looked this up. I go, okay, contribute, about us. I've gone in here. I've read some information around who these guys are. I've looked at who their funders are and who their partners are to check to see that they're, dealing with legitimate people and those kinds of things. And by reading all this, I can tell, look, they're a nonprofit. They're here for educational purposes. They've worked with some pretty good, pretty big name people and things like that. You've got the Carnegie Corporation in New York, Ireland Aid, the British Council, Department of Arts and Culture. So lots of different places that are fairly legitimate. So from what I can tell, this is a legitimate source of information. So now I'm going to be able to talk about that. And I've already written it down, so I'm just going to copy it in here for you just to save time on this demonstration. Okay, but here is my validity stuff. So let me go back here to Noodle Tools, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type this in here. Okay, and here's some validity, right? And so, I'm talking about this website is a credible source of information. It's not only a nonprofit, so they're not gaining financially, but they use primary source documents in there. The different sponsors are historical and national organizations. I can't find an author, but I'm getting the sense that this is probably a legitimate source of information. Okay. Then what I need to do is I need to answer the question, which is, does this article actually address my ability to answer the question of how did the collapse of the Soviet Union affect South Africa? And by reading the article, I was able to discern that in fact, yes, it does. So I wrote that up myself. Let me bring that back up here. I'm messing this up somehow. Whoa. Let's get rid. Oh, anyway, there it is. Okay, so validity and then my answer, and I've talked about what this website's about, what it tells me, and how it relates to, the fall of the Soviet Union and affected South Africa. Okay, and so there's everything that I need. So I'm going to then submit this, and you can see I've got this on here. Then I would go pick a different country, and I'm going to go do a different Google search, find another resource, and once I do that, then I can select another MLA cited website and go from there and continue on with that process until I've got all three of them. Okay, and then the next video will show you how to print that out and format your Word document so that way you have your annotated bibliography.